Good evening and welcome to Overtime. About an hour ago, we learned of it a little less than an hour ago. So let's say I have to do the math in my head here. About an hour and 20 minutes ago, we believe there was a mid-air collision over the Potomac, right outside of Dulles, Ronald Reagan Airport, and we have some information about it. There's a purportedly video of it, of what appears to be a Black Hawk helicopter that was actually, by some reports of the video, deliberately slamming into the airplane. I'm not sure. That doesn't sound right. I imagine that things can look... All right, we are getting video now of that. Thank you for that. It's going to take me a second to snag it, but it looks like we are. Yeah, I'll have to check that in a minute. At any rate, we do know that the helicopter and the airplane collided. The airplane was coming out of Wichita, Kansas. The airplane was, in fact, we can bring this up here. This is the flight tracker as of the moment of the collision. In fact, you can see it in the flight tracker if you take a look at all the airplanes in yellow. Most of them you can see are at the Ronald Reagan International Airport, and you can see that they have a regular tail. If you look at the red one, it seems to have a second tail. That's a helicopter. So there was a helicopter that somehow they collided. The helicopter, we believe, was military and had 3 soldiers on board. The airplane was an ICT. That's a Mitsubishi. It was coming out of ICT Wichita. It was a Mitsubishi 𝐍𝐢𝐜𝐴701ER, which is capable of holding 60 passengers. We don't know how many passengers it had at the time. The water temperature in the Potomac right now is 72 degrees. At 72 degrees, the average human being can survive in the water for about 60 minutes. Immediately after the crash, and you can already see we've got up. We're going to get a little closer here on the flight tracker. But what you can see here is at least 3 helicopters. Actually 3, 4, 5, 6 helicopters. You can see them in the middle window. They are, and I'm going to highlight a couple of these, they are orbiting around the area looking for survivors. We have had no word of casualties or survivors. You can see all traffic out of Ronald Reagan has been stopped. If we expand here, you can see it's all been diverted, and you can see planes landing and taking off at the other airports nearby. The collision occurred, if we look at, there you go, the collision occurred actually essentially where these 2 helicopters are. We'll bring up the collision now that you hopefully have a little experience. You can see, by the way, if you take a look at the tail of what these helicopters looks like, and then you can see the tail of an airplane, and now we're going to bring up for you the collision. You can see that they're right on top of each other right there. The helicopter and the airplane. And again, this was now, we believe, about an hour and 20 minutes ago. I wonder if there's no. So the plane, we don't know where the plane crashed. We do know that the footage that we've seen appears to suggest that it did go into the water. It was awfully close to landing, so it may have actually struck land. We don't know yet. We know very little so far. Again, the only thing we do know is that there were 3 people aboard the helicopter, 3 soldiers, and the airplane had a capacity of 60. So, and that's it. And again, you can see the helicopters now widening. Earlier, they were much closer together right over, and they appear to be widening. I don't know, especially why they're heading so far south is beyond me. You wouldn't expect debris that far south. Well, okay, no, you know what? It's because the river may have carried, so they're trying to see if the water carried anyone down there. We do have reports that there's been footage that's been circulating. What I've heard of that footage, every description I've heard suggests that the helicopter went out of its way, and it looks like the crash was at about 400 feet. The helicopter was directly in the flight path of the plane as it was attempting to land. Again, it was out of Wichita, Kansas. Thank you to both of you. It was, let me just quickly, so that I want to make sure I give credit where credit is due. We got both from Dorito and Heather W. The footage, and I haven't seen it yet, so you guys will be able to take a look at it with me. Let's bring that in right now. And I don't know. Let's see if there's audio on this. We'll bring up the audio and we'll take a look and see if we can tell what happened. All right. Obviously, it's the second run through is much better. It's zoomed in. Let's look at it again. I can clearly see where the confusion is. So what we're actually looking for is down at the bottom. There you go. Let's speed this up to. Okay, so you can see at that's got to be the. Okay, so right now, and I don't think I can have my mouse circle or highlight it, but you should be able to see a red, well, there's a kind of reddish dot. The dot to its right appears to be the helicopter. The bright light in the dead center is the airplane that collided with the helicopter. So as we watch this go, you can see the helicopter approach. You can see the helicopter's got its own flashing light, and boom, they strike. Now, people who've watched this video have said, and this is going around a lot, that it is crystal clear that the helicopter deliberately flew at the plane. There's absolutely no way to know. There is no way to know. This video is not even remotely close to conclusive enough. The problem is, especially with light, it's very hard to, magicians will tell you, they love light because it's very hard to tell actually where the source is, where it's coming from, and what direction it's going in. If something with light is moving, it's very, very hard to tell. What you see is the airplane sort of coming towards us, and then the helicopter going this way. But you can't tell if the helicopter is going in reverse. You can't even tell the helicopter may be going in this direction. We can see that it's moving. It's got some. The vector has some vertical aspect to it, horizontal aspect. But we don't know how much is headed south, how much is headed east. I think it's south. I think that would be south and east. And at what speeds, if it were trying to cause a problem, you'd think it would have turned off its lights. It didn't. There's no indication here that I see of foul play. The skies are very, very busy. An experienced pilot should be nowhere near the landing area for a commercial airport. Having said that, we're human beings. We make mistakes, whether or not the tower knew in advance. The very first that we heard of this was there was a report from the tower that was intercepted by Flight Tracker 24. Flight Tracker 24 is a online tool. I know it's going to sound like they're sponsoring us. They are not, but they are an online tool for tracking basically almost any flight in the world. They also cover investigations of crashes and so on and so forth, and have some regular programming. They picked up out of Ronald Reagan National Airport a call saying that they believed a helicopter had collided with a plane. That was by this point now over an hour and a half ago. We got our first inkling of it shortly after that. All we had was it was on Blue Sky that Flight Tracker was reporting this, and that was enough for us to get interested, but not enough for us to go. So by the time we figured that this had actually happened, again, the big concern is the water is 42 degrees. That's extremely cold. And yes, it was a Black Hawk helicopter. That much we know. And we have, at this point, we've been told that it was 3 soldiers on board. Dunk on you. You can see the helicopter going in front of the wing. If you look closely, it appears to hit the plane in the nose. Yeah. I am very skeptical of any footage I see that's this grainy at night. And I have no expertise in this, to be honest. But I know that comes as a shock to everybody. So right before I answer, I was going to check on something and then I spaced. Oh, yes, I do remember. So let's see. Yeah, so we know it was, and like I said, right now, and apparently it's going viral that this was intentional. I don't know. I will say I have seen so far 0 evidence that it was. I've seen 0 evidence that it wasn't. I would have to be convinced that it was. I think under normal circumstances we'd assume an accident unless we had evidence otherwise. The burden is on whoever's trying to say that this was an accident. I will say that helicopter had no business being there, but I've don't tell the cops, I've driven down a wrong way street before, and I'm a reasonably good driver. Like most drivers, I am an above average driver. And every now and then I've driven down the wrong way of a one-way street, and I've been driving for most of my life. Accidents and mistakes happened. I cannot tell from that video anything that would suggest to me that it was deliberate or anything that would be dispositive of it being deliberate. So conspiracy theories always fly out, so my advice or suggestion to people if they're getting involved in them is, unless for some reason they have evidence, that video doesn't suggest to me at all that it was deliberate. You'd need to give me something to say that this was deliberate. 4 survivors have been located by rescue crews following the collision of the Black Hawk chopper. So they've rescued 4. Now it looks like we've got another piece of footage. This looks like it's coming from a dash cam. Let me just quickly, okay. This one I don't think is going to, this one is definitely a higher quality one, so we will bring this up. I don't know that it's going to bring, shed much light on this, but, you know, just because I don't know doesn't mean, so maybe somebody here will be able to deduce something from it that I can't. It is not particularly closer, but it is in color, and it is from another angle. Again, it does appear. Listen, here's another thing, by the way. Let's assume it was an accident. In every single accident, one object is heading towards another object. They continue to do this until they collide. If you assume beforehand it was deliberate, it's going to look like it was deliberate because you're going to say, wow, why didn't he change course? Why didn't he do it? But that's how every accident happens. I've seen accidents on the freeway. Somebody's on their phone and they just keep driving, boom, slam into somebody else. You say, well, how could they do it but for? So we see 2 objects heading straight towards each other. And then what happens when all objects head straight towards each other? They collide. Listen, please, right now, hit the like, hit the subscribe button. Maybe give us a super chat. One of the things that we don't do, and this is in time, and this is everybody who works here knows this, and I like to think that's one of the reasons they do work here. We don't speculate. Well, let me rephrase that. We tell you when we're speculating, and we make it crystal clear. And we tell you what the facts are, and then we tell you about, and we try to tamp down. It's a lot easier to go on around with your hair on fire. Oh my God, it has to have been deliberate, especially if there are no consequences for saying that the next day. The next day, if you ran around telling everybody, no, it was deliberate, nobody's going to the next day go up and say, oh, you were wrong. And you can keep doing stuff like that. There are channels that do that. You're not on one of them. So, we'd get more. The channels that really get into that tend to do better. We're not one of them, and we aren't going to become one. So, if you want conspiracy theories, go somewhere else. There are conspiracies. Some are there, but you're going to have to convince me first. So let's take a look at, and I thought I had, no, I somehow, keep telling Titan, Titan, you need to get us a producer. And he says, no, Nick, I think our producer is perfect. And I say, our producer's a really great guy, but perfect. Not quite there. I am now not going to look in the live chat for a few minutes because I really don't want to see the response. All right. I think I got it now. So I'm playing for time. Here we go. This is the dash cam footage. You're going to see the helicopter and the explosion on the left. So there is what appears to be a statue of some kind of an airplane with 3 green lights dead ahead. The collision will occur to the right. I believe it's going to be right under a lampposts. So let's bring this up. And all right, so we're going to take a look at this. Let's see if I can isolate. Well, now let's look at this one more time, and then I'll try to isolate things. Yeah, there you go. So you can see. Yeah. Now here, from this angle, you almost can't tell that they're 2 separate objects. We're gonna see this one more time. Oh, that's not true. You can. Yeah, you can. This is. I don't know what angle this is from. So let's see. We got. This is not as fine radiant as I would like. We're gonna play it one more time. I'm gonna take this. So here we go. One more time. You can see what appears to be the helicopter on the left and the airplane on the right. Yep. Oh, I don't know. Dorito may know more about that. He's going to sort of be the expert on that kind of thing. All right. So you can see there are still helicopters. I wonder if the others have headed south. They've rescued now 4 people. So what do we know? Reasonably close to, are we sure this isn't AI? Oh, timed out on our well, there you go. I'll close that out in a sec. So, are we sure this isn't AI? We're about as sure as we can be. This was first, it was actually a flight tracker that first heard the audio, intercepted the audio. Oh, thank you. It was a flight tracker that actually caught the audio from the tower saying that there had been a midair collision. They put that out on Blue Sky. One of our researchers found it, brought it to my attention. We don't just run with everything Blue Sky says, so I started trying to see if I could confirm it. We were able to confirm on Flight Tracker itself that there was at least that the airport was shut down and that there was what appeared to be a search party. At that point, we started deciding to get going. We heard that there was footage of it from several sources that appeared to be reliable, and so we went with it. That footage looks correct to me. And if somebody was doing it with AI, I'd be impressed that they could bang out an AI video in this period of time. There's also audio of a family talking there. I decided to pull the audio because not privacy reasons. So, and let's see. So that recorded the collision. That would be about 8:50 p.m. So yeah, that's right. Yeah, 8:50 p.m. Eastern. So that's what we're looking at now. What I'm going to do is, helicopter's on the right, plane is on the left. You can see the cabin light. Thank you. Thank you, Dunk on You. This is why I have to surround myself with people with experience with the military, because I ain't one of them. What I'm going to do now. I haven't checked the live chat. I do apologize. So, the only other concern, as I said, so it looks like they landed in the Potomac. We haven't confirmed that. They were at, I believe it was 400 feet and coming in for a landing when the crash occurred. The helicopter appears to have been in the direct flight path of the airplane. The airplane has a maximum capacity of 60 passengers, and we don't know what the crew capacity is. If they landed in the water, okay, it looks like that it had a crew of 4, so it's a total of 64 people on the, there were 64 people on the plane, 4 have been recovered. If they landed in the water, you can survive in the water for about 1 hour at 42 degrees, which is the current temperature of the Potomac River as of the last time we checked it. So we didn't actually check the Potomac River. We checked what the readings were on it. Let's see. The Black Hawk apparently was a VIP transport and was coming from CIA headquarters. That would be interesting. 8 p.m., close of the workday. So who's coming from the CIA? And the question is, what direction were they headed in? Let's see if they were headed. We're going to have to think on that one. I don't think that's been confirmed. All right. Thank you, Dorito. Appreciate that. I don't think so. Okay. So at this point, it looks like the helicopter. Now, what we were told were that there were 3 soldiers on board. That statement is interesting because there may also have been a billion other people on board. It doesn't say there were only 3 soldiers. We were told there were 3 soldiers on board. And we weren't told that was the complement. We were just told there were 3 soldiers on board. So there may have been other passengers. Maybe that weren't soldiers. I don't know. But it looks like the plane may have been coming out of, or sorry, the helicopter may have been coming out of Langley and carrying VIPs. Now, there are many VIPs that you and I have never heard of, and there are a few that we have. So I think it would be interesting to know who was on that helicopter. But if there were any, and we have a report that says that the Black Hawk helicopter has been located. It is upside down and almost fully submerged, and they are saying that there's likely no viable victims inside. So all hands aboard the helicopter at this point are believed to have been lost. It is mostly underwater and it is upside down. They have rescued 4 survivors from the American Airlines craft, which we are told had a total of 64 people on it. 60 were passengers, 4 were crew. Collided around 8:50 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Southbound. Okay, so they were heading south. Yeah, so the airplane. Okay, so that looks like the helicopter was heading south. It was heading south from Langley, so it wasn't. That would, unless my geography, and I'm doing this from memory, and I was not planning on a geography quiz today, that would not be headed towards the White House. I don't know where that would be headed, but it would be headed southeast, I think, if it were going to the, yeah. Cool. I'll have to check on that. Didn't I say I was going to go into the live chat? I think I did. I think there are multiple streamers with ADHD, and so I am probably in good company. I will get caught up. We've got some more information coming in here, and I will get caught up with that in a minute, but I would like to check in on the live chat and see what you guys have been talking about, because I haven't been paying attention for even a second. Oh, we did. Oh, we got a $20 super chat from Dunk on You. Thank you, Dunk on You, so much for your super chat. We really appreciate it. And gifted 5 memberships. Blonde Bombsheller also did a $2 super chat. Thank you guys so much for that. So, airspace has been closed around. Yeah, the whole airport is closed, and other than emergency vehicles, which we were monitoring for a little while. So let me. Let's see. We're all clicking here. Thank you so much. I'm going to try to go back to Go With the Farm says 12 dead so far, 7 female and 5 males pulled from the water. All right, so that's unconfirmed. I haven't. Usually our live chat is pretty accurate about these things. I haven't seen that, but it certainly wouldn't surprise me. And our live chat knows to be serious with these kinds of. Dunk on You 20 feels odd to give a super chat for a disaster, but thank you for covering this, Nick. Yeah, it well, and it always feels a little weird. The tone of these shows is it's never fun to cover something like this, and especially when it's when we covered the tanker with the toxic chemicals had crashed, the rail crash, and that one was going on for a little while, and it was hard. And then you try to also keep it light. And, you do your best to do that, but you kind of have to thread the needle on that. But we decided this was worth covering, so we really appreciate your support, and we appreciate the likes, subscribes, and the super chats. They genuinely do. Cam is right. They keep the lights on. They literally do keep the lights on. So thank you. All right. According to CBS News has been told that an Army Black Hawk helicopter was involved in the collision. So it was an Army Black Hawk helicopter. And the Defense Department says that there were 3 soldiers on board and no senior officials. So at this point, it looks like there was nobody on board but the 3 men. This is from CBS, who has that from the Defense Department, and CBS also has from the Army that it was one of their helicopters. And I got one more we're going to check on here, and all right, thank you. I will hit that in a second. So let's see who else we got. We got a lot of people. Thank you. Hello to the left plane. Yeah, I got that one wrong. Okay. Oh, yeah. I don't actually know the number of passengers. That's good. Well, no, it was. I think it was. It must have been at capacity. That plane can hold a capacity of 60 passengers, and they're saying that there was 4 crew, and that it was. So I think it's. I think it was full, is what it sounds like. Thank you. Go With the Flow Farm. We appreciate it. Let's see. All right. Oh, and Blonde Bombsheller gave us another super chat, $5. Thank you so much, Blonde Bombsheller. It really does help. And I know you work with a number of channels, so it's you know that every bit helps. So thank you for that, and really appreciate it. So now, as I said before, there was audio picked up between the tower and the I think it was a helicopter. So what we have here is audio between between Reagan and the PAT-25, which is the Black Hawk helicopter. The controller asks the helicopter, if he can see the CRJ, that was what was, I think that was it was a Mitsubishi CRJ. The Pat 25 confirms and requests visual separation. That means that he is affirming that he sees the plane and will himself work to avoid it, meaning that he will not, he does not need instructions from the tower on avoiding the aircraft. So we do have a picture of right, I think this is actually shortly after that engagement. This it? Okay, so here it is, and we can see the flight paths of both. So it look that doesn't AIA Pat. Oh, that okay. That must be the designation then. This does not seem right. I mean, it was a Black Hawk helicopter. It should have shown as a helicopter. Everything else we've seen. Oh, well, you know what? This is a different. Never mind. Okay. Yeah, this could still. I don't know. I'm gonna hold off. But thank you for that. And then I'm just gonna check and see. I do apologize for the interim. We're getting a good deal of data here. See, this is okay. So if this is, I'm looking right now at where the CIA headquarters is relative to. Yeah, it's there. So if, yeah, no, so it wasn't coming from Langley. All right. Well, let me take one more stab finishing the live chat, and then we'll see if we have any other news to report. Haven't the divers got wetsuits for the cold weather? Yeah, the divers can stay down just about as long as they like if they got, especially at 42. I think a diver with a wetsuit can stay under. The problem is if you're a passenger and you're, at half underwater, that water will kill you reasonably quickly. Cold water kills people very quickly, especially when the water gets. I forget. I think at 28 degrees, if I recall, at 28 degrees, if you are in 28-degree water, you have about 5 minutes to live. That's it. You have to get out in less than 5 minutes. And it gets hard very quickly because your muscles start failing. Now, this was not 28 degrees. This is 42. They have about an hour. And there may be plenty. I mean, we don't know the orientation of the plane. We know the helicopter's upside down and mostly submerged. That may be in large part why they're saying, I mean, if the helicopter looks like it was on fire and if the entire helicopter is underwater, if it was 3 hours before they got to it, you can't survive in the water that long without equipment, even if you have air. The problem is the temperature. So, I don't think Blackhawks turn up on flight radar, do they? Well, I think when they're in civilian areas, I mean, they can turn their transponder on or off easily enough. So I have to believe that when they're in civilian areas, especially around an airport, they have their transponders on and are communicating with the controller, which in fact is what we found. Was they apparently told the controller that they saw the plane and were keeping an eye out for it and were going to stay away from it. Obviously, that did not happen. But the communication, again, suggests to me that this was an accident. 3 people on board. I don't see any evidence that... I don't see anything suspicious here that this was anything other than an accident. And I see a number of common sense reasons to suspect it was. Did I say that correct? I don't see any reason here to suspect that this was anything but an accident, and I see a number of common sense things that suggest to me that it was. If somebody was doing this deliberately, he probably would have chosen to do it by himself. If it was the pilot who just went crazy, those things can happen, but that's very, very rare, and there are other ways to go crazy than deliberately flying into another aircraft. And I don't think he would have bothered to talk to the, oh, thank you, Heather. I don't think he would have bothered to talk to the control tower if he was planning on doing something crazy. So here's what I think we're going to do. We're going to do one more quick rundown of what we know, what we think, and we know that a number of other mainstream media sources are carrying a live feed now, and other than the commentary we've done, I'm not sure we can add a whole heck of a lot at this point. So what do we know? Around 8:50 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, a American Airlines airplane with a passenger capacity of 60 collided with a Black Hawk helicopter carrying 3 soldiers. The helicopter has been discovered. It was mostly submerged in the water. This occurred outside of Ronald Reagan Airport at about 400 feet right over the Potomac. The helicopter was found mostly submerged, and it is believed that all lives were lost aboard that helicopter. We know for a fact that 4 of the American Airlines 4 people from that flight have been found and recovered safely. We have a report that I think, was it 5 and 7 go with the flow? It appears that there are a number of fatalities that they have discovered. The Potomac is at last review, was right when the show was starting. The Potomac was 42 degrees. It's probably still 42 degrees, even if the sun were up. It takes water a long time to change temperature. At 42 degrees, the average human being can survive in that water for about an hour before they die of hypothermia. So this is one reason why I think, well, obviously they're going to go as quickly as they can, but the cold water is obviously a factor here. So that is what we know. I don't like leaving stories when they're still on, but we're independent news, and by the time mainstream media sort of catches up to where we are, we do sometimes just leave it to them. I do think the important thing is, as I've said before, a number of people we've been talking to have been saying that this was deliberate and that it looks deliberate. It looks like the helicopter went and veered and tried to collide with the airplane. We have no evidence of that, and we have no reason to believe that at this point. And it would take several leaps in logic and reasoning to come up with a valid reason why that would be true. Doesn't mean it isn't true, but there's nothing behind any of that I can see so far. So, and usually that's the way it is. Accidents do happen, much to everyone's surprise sometimes. So we will be keeping an eye on this, and if something big comes up, if it is determined that this was something other than an accident or something else that we believe you should know and are not necessarily going to get from your mainstream media sources, believe me, we will be back on. But until such time, thank you very much for joining us. And like I said, we'll be following. Come join us on the Discord. We will be following and posting on the Discord. This is also going to be a long rescue. I think anybody trapped in the back of the plane out of the water can probably survive a day without too much difficulty. So it's going to be a long rescue. It's going to be a long night. So we will catch up with this when we do our next news review, unless there's anything beforehand. And until then, you can keep up with us on the Discord and see what's going on. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you tomorrow for Downtime with Commander McMillan and I, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's supposed to be a light show, but I've got to tell you, we have to take a long, hard look at what a newly elected Tangerine has been up to, because I got to tell you, it's crazy, and I think it needs to be put in context and brought down into somewhat more sizable chunks, because I think there is a deliberate attempt to overwhelm everybody with information. And so I think we who curate information have to ourselves try not to get overwhelmed by it and allow the shiny new object to just detract us from the fact that, he's now recreating Iron Dome in the United States. Long story. On the Discord if you want to see it. Thank you all for joining us, and we will see you tomorrow night.